Okay, welcome everybody back to the YouTube channel. I've been feeling really called to record videos again, and here I am. I actually also really got inspired by a video I watched the other day from some other woman who did it in this really relaxed way. You know, she was also lighting an incense, for example, and that just gave me the final nudge of recording my own videos again and doing it just in a way that feels relaxed and good, and just like sitting in front of this camera here and having a conversation. Because so much has been shifting for me and is still in the process. I mean, obviously always, but the way I show up here, so in the spiritual community, I mean, there's different spiritual communities, but I've seen online a spiritual teacher being talked about a lot recently because people say that he's been abusing students, women, that he's really out of integrity and all these kinds of things. And when I heard that, I was not so surprised because I was following him as well, like online only. But after following him for a few months, I started feeling like he created this really kind of big persona and shares very profound spiritual teachings, but the teachings he shares are great. But he himself, the way he carries him, the way he presents himself, felt really off to me. It felt like he was hiding something behind a very big wall, behind a very big persona that he has created. And well, now people are coming out and talking about pretty much exactly that. So what I also am taking away from this is like this importance of just like being authentic about our humanness or human mess, you know, because this is what really hurts me the most. Is this online world is so great for us to learn, to get information and all this stuff, and it's also, it can be really dangerous, and we all know that, because people are portraying themselves in a certain way and we are perceiving them in a certain way, you know. So one of you is perceiving me probably different than the next person who's watching me. But what I really wish for my community here, for this community that I'm building, is I want to share, or I'm here to share my experiences and my knowledge, and if you want to call it that, my wisdom, because I have this deep yearning to share, and I feel like I have a lot to share. I know I have a lot to share. We all have a lot to share. But I just want to do it with humility, and life has been giving me things to become more humble. And at the same time, you know, to also own that I'm beautiful and that I'm unique and that I'm me. Humility doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I'm not special. Like, I'm not special. I talked about this in another podcast episode a couple of weeks ago. I'm not special. Nobody's really special. Nobody's special. We're all unique. And we are totally welcome to own that. So being humble doesn't mean that we like just let people walk all over us. Being humble is like, to me, just seeing myself in others. So when my partner or my housemate trigger me, which they do quite a lot, it's usually not because they are doing something wrong. It's because they are showing me something inside myself that is yet to be loved and seen and fully accepted. acceptance is such a great spiritual virtue. Like, to truly accept something is a great task. And I've come to a new realization with the word accepting, because for quite some time I didn't like it. For quite some time I said I don't want to use this word, and I was talking more about allowing, because the energy of allowing, I also have a meditation on that. You can look it up on my YouTube, how to come into the energy of allowing. This video is called. Allowing to me is more like opening ourselves, opening our heart to it, and essentially becoming one with that thing consciously. So that can sound really crazy, but we are essentially all one, right? On a very subtle level, we're all connected. We're all coming from the same source. So there is a sense of oneness very deep down in all of us, if we feel into it, if we look into it. But this allowing, so to me, it still totally makes sense, because allowing to me is more like with the heart. It's difficult, but yeah, allowing is like I'm opening my heart to the world. And at the same time, accepting is like, but I'm standing my ground. I'm allowing and I'm accepting, but I'm not agreeing. And I'm not letting this like take over me. I can accept it, but I'm not getting involved in it. And this is, to me, the new realization that I come to with acceptance. And it's also what I work a lot in with this inner work that I offer. That the first step, well, one of the very first steps, the first step is to gain clarity why this part exists in our psyche and our consciousness. And the second step is, can you accept that? Can you accept that you have a really hurting, needy, disgusting looking inner aspect in you? Can you accept that? And a lot of times we think when we accept something, we are becoming that thing, or we are allowing that thing to rule our lives. But this is not the case. If I say I can accept you, we are allowing that thing to exist. And this is the first step in releasing resistance to that thing. We are letting the walls come down. And why is that important? Because we live in a universe of unity, right? At the end of the day, separation is only an experience in it, but it's not the absolute truth, if you want to use such deep words. The truth that I've come to experience again and again and again, actually mainly through healing work, is that there is an underlying current of love, of like this cosmic omnipresent love that just is, that just allows everything to be as it is. And when things are hurting and are really distorted and are really like not looking like love at all, they are cutting themselves off from this love. That's why it doesn't look like love. But when we then come in the state of allowing and say, oh, I can allow this inner part of myself to feel ugly, to be disgusting, we are allowing that part to come back into the stream of love. And this love has like some magical, really transformative energy, and brings this part back into harmony. And to widen, I always say this, like we have inner wars, and this is why outer wars are happening as well. As I said, like the outer world is the mirror for what's happening in my inner. So when I see something in the outer world that's triggering me, that's making me dissatisfied, it's making me angry, unhappy, I have to see where is this happening within myself. So if I see a war in the outer world, can I also acknowledge that there is some sense of war inside me. This doesn't mean that I'm a complete war, that I'm totally in war with myself, but that there might be aspects. And yeah, the more we can accept this world, the more we have really the potential of changing it. But I will bring it back to personal space, because this is essentially, it's the same, right, as in the micro, so in the macro. And if we have a war within ourselves, so a war within ourselves basically means there is one part of you that wants one thing, and you're really struggling to get that, because if you look seriously and honestly at yourself, you actually realize that there is another part in you that does not want that thing, be it like a beautiful loving relationship, living in a house on the beach, having a certain job, something along those lines, or to stop smoking, whatever. There's one part of you that wants that thing, and there's another part that's really holding you back. So there's a friction, there is an inner war. And this inner war will go on as long as you are resisting it. If you are always saying, oh my God, I have this war, like why is this fucking thing here? I want to have this, but this other fucking thing is like not wanting me to stop smoking. Why? So this is like creating a resistance, and you're actually overly focusing on that thing that's holding you back. You're like, why the fuck are you doing this? Right. You're like overly focusing on it, feeding it energy, but feeding it not loving energy. So when we then come into the state of acceptance and say, or we first go in and practice looking at this piece in ourselves from a state of relaxation, we really drop in and allow ourselves to really feel that part of ourselves that's resisting our dream reality. And what's usually fascinatingly then happens is that we gain a new perspective, that we see the motivation of this part of ourselves, and that it actually is acting out of some quite valid reason, usually to keep us safe. And if we realize that, if we can recognize that, we're like, oh wow, you are actually like not wanting me to live by the beach because you're wanting to keep me safe from something. And usually those parts in ourselves that are wanting to keep us safe, they're wanting to keep us safe because like changing our life does bring some kind of insecurity with it. Like it feels unsafe to that part in ourselves. So it wants to keep us safe. It wants to keep us in the life, the world that we feel quite safe and comfortable in. And when we recognize that, and when we realize that there is a sense of wanting to feel safe, we can then learn and practice to give love, to give understanding, to give acceptance to that part in ourselves that's resisting our dream reality. So I'm not sure if I explained this clearly enough, but yeah, this is how you are releasing the resistance towards this part that's holding you back. Because like trying to slay that part is just going into another war. And this is like the big problem with war in this world. People are fighting each other with the same weapons over and over and over again. This is why I find it really sad and kind of ridiculous that in this Ukraine-Russia situation, I'm gonna say it, that there is like, that many people now are blaming Putin and he's a bad guy. And the real problem to me anyway is that humans are still doing this kind of thing, that there are still even weapons involved, that weapons are still even being made. and used against each other. This to me is the real problem. So, and I know we can go very deep, and you know, this is just my opinion and my feeling about this. Period. Back to the personal. If we can let go of the resistance towards what's happening within us, we are one step closer to a state of inner harmony. Yeah. And this is what we're here for. You know, like, I'm still nervous talking in front of the camera, I'm noticing, and I don't really like cutting out pieces when I need to take time to breathe and feel and think. But this is what I wholeheartedly feel, that the inner work is the key to solving the outside problems. And this can be such a hard, bitter pill to swallow, because we want to give away responsibility, and we are so used to the blaming game. We are so used to just wanting to give responsibility to others and wanting others to solve it. And the thing is, with this global situation that many of us are not satisfied with, you know, because there's something that's difficult to accept for each and every one of us. If we start to truly do our inner work, and if every person becomes radically honest with themselves and with their imperfections, and start focusing on inner harmony, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, then we also unlock our own inner genius. And genius is a way of seeing things in a new way and finding solutions to problems in new ways. You know, I think it was Einstein who was actually born in the same town as me. Woohoo! Einstein said I'm not quoting it perfectly, I think, but he said something along the lines, we cannot solve problems with the same mindset that we created them with. And we humans are in a certain state of mindset, like the majority of us are in this mindset of pushing, grinding, like fighting against, fighting for, like fighting is a big one. There's always like this pushing and fighting, instead of going like, okay, what inside of me is fighting? What inside of me is in war? And then going in and integrating, dissolving into love that which is in war within ourselves. And that can feel like, that can sound really fluffy to some people as well, because we want to like do stuff, we want to like get out there and do things, and this, you will still do that, we will still go out there and do the things, but we will do it from a space of more inner harmony, because we can only create outer harmony if we feel more harmonious. And creating this inner harmony is a constant process, because we have a lot of stuff to harmonize, to relax. There's so much stress in our world. I'm addicted to stress. Wonder if you are too, but I think many of us are. So this inner harmony really is the key, because how can we create outer harmony if we are having all these parts within ourselves that are in war, that are in disharmony? We cannot even know what harmony feels like or looks like. We have to start with ourselves if we want to create lasting, profound, useful change in the world. And then it is also totally possible. It's so possible. Like, I get chills saying that, because I've just seen it in, I don't know, in meditations. I've seen it when I meditated in just deep states of relaxation. Relaxation is actually a big one. It's where like things within us come to a rest, and there emerges a state of clarity from which comes great creativity. And I think it was Thomas Edison, the guy who invented the light bulb. Apparently, the guy who invented the light bulb had like the idea, or like one of the important ideas for it, when he was like sitting in his garden being totally chilled. Somehow, because somehow when we are relaxed, we are in this open receptive state where energy can flow more freely, and life force energy is ideas, is creativity. Life force energy is creative energy. It creates life, it creates ideas, right? So of course it's also very useful to get fit and to do workouts, because it helps the body to be fresh and alive, and it makes, from my experience anyways, the relaxation states more easily accessible, because there is like more sense of clarity when we also regularly move the energy in the body. But there's obviously different states. Like when I go for runs, I can also feel really motivated and inspired. Inspired is the right word. But relaxation, for some reason the word keeps coming up in this video to me currently. So relaxation really is a big one as well. And because so many of us have this inner war, it can be really difficult for us to relax, as I just said. It's one of my challenges at the moment to relax even more deeply. Like there was a point in my journey where I found new levels of feeling relaxed, and I was like, wow, I can feel so relaxed. Like I can just literally sit and do nothing and be okay with it. But then now recently I'm experiencing that there's a deeper layer to be explored of relaxation. There is more relaxation possible. So I'm taking on that challenge again. So I hope this video was insightful for you and interesting. I actually enjoyed it. It was, it is an edge for me to record videos, because I'm pretty self-conscious about my looks. But it's fun as well. So I thank you so much for watching, and you can leave a comment, hit the like button, and subscribe to this channel. I am inspired and excited to record regular videos again, and I will check the audio, but I will probably most likely just use this for the podcast as well, so you can also just listen to the audio if you like to. So thank you again, have a beautiful week, and speak to you next time.